Hey everyone, welcome back to the Life of a Makeup Artist podcast. Today I am super excited because we have the Maria of Rodial and Nip Fab. I have been chatting with her via Clubhouse and Instagram, and I am just in awe of this woman. She is such a powerhouse. She's an author, she's a parent, she's a brand founder, but overall, she's an inspiration and an amazing person. I'm super excited about today's episode, so let's get right into it.
This is so exciting because, Maria, I know that you are an amazing businesswoman. You have several brands, you are an author. But what I love most about you is that you genuinely want to see people win. You are always giving so much great advice, on your platforms, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Clubhouse. And I just want to say thank you for being here today. You are amazing, and I'm excited for today.
Thank you for having me. I love your channel. I love everything that you do. And we've met through Clubhouse and here we are now. So very, very excited to be here with you, Jalisa. Thanks for having me.
Of course, you're so amazing. So before we get into all the questions, how are you? How is things? It's opening up in London, and I know that you have a lot of doors where you have Rodial, and so tell us more about how has that transition into back to normalcy. I can say, how has that been for you?
Yeah, so with Rodial, we are available in a lot of department stores. And when we went into lockdown a year ago, 75% of our business was wholesale from stores such as Selfridges, Harrods, Space NK, and suddenly we didn't have that. So over the past year, as every other brand, we had to pivot to online and focus on our direct to consumer. And we totally switched our whole model. Now, over the last 4 weeks in the UK, the stores have started opening. They've been open for about 4 weeks. We are seeing a little bit of traffic, and definitely, it's exciting to finally go into the stores and be able to talk to our customers and sample and do makeovers. But I feel that this past year has really changed the consumer habits. And if someone loves their classic products, let's say they're a big fan of their snake serum and the banana lowlighter, and they know that's what they want, they're just going to go online and purchase it and have it delivered to their door because they've been through that exercise. So I feel that when it comes to replenishing staples and favorite products, I feel consumers will still be buying online and they will use the stores more to explore new products, explore new brands, have this whole experience of going and having lunch or coffee with their friends and then going shopping. So shopping is going to change and it's going to be more social rather than I need the banana lowlighter. I'm going to go to the store to get it. That's what we're seeing so far. But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I think the discovery of brick and mortar is what drives people there, because sometimes you don't know what you want. You just want something new, or you just want to check it out and maybe discover something. So I'm happy that things are picking up. And I know we spoke about this before, but what do you think are some of the lessons that could be learned from brands or anyone that has products in store about shopping habits? Because I know a lot of it is online now, but do you think that there's any, now that things are opening up, do you still think that that's making a difference with online sales?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've over the past year, we've launched 2 of our best-selling products right now are the banana and lately the peach lowlighter. Mm-hmm. And as much as we showcase this in on our digital platforms and social media and working with influencers, at the end of the day, the consumer wants to go to the stores and try the product and also have a little consultation. And it's not just about that. It's sitting down and saying, yeah, I'm going to get the banana lowlighter. highlighter? Can you just show me powder that can go with it, or another makeup product, or how do I prep my under eye? So they're getting a bigger experience that you can't really replicate through online. So I definitely think there's space for that in-store experience, but that would mean that the customer will need to have a little bit more time, that they're not just going in and out of the store. They're going in and they're going to spend a good 15 minutes sitting down and getting that self-care and getting pampered. And I want to emphasize the word self-care and pampering, because I feel after coming out of lockdown, we are all missing that human interaction. And I think that connection with the sales rep, the sales consultant, and having sharing your skin or makeup concerns and having someone consult you and sit down and treat you, it feels super special suddenly. And I think that this can never be replicated online. So we are hopeful on the retail, have to say that.
I love that. And thanks so much for your insight. So I know that we met on Clubhouse, and a lot of people are obsessed with you. Can you tell me more about how the last year has changed your relationship with social media, especially as a brand founder?
Believe it or not, before the pandemic, I wasn't even talking to camera. I was very self-conscious about my accent, about the way I look, the angles, the nose, the skin, all that. And for years, I had my team saying, Maria, can you just showcase people how you use the products? I'm obviously not a makeup artist, so I'm never going to be able to sit down and show you the perfect smoky eye. There's people like you, Jalissa, that can do a much better job than that. So I'm not claiming excellent makeup artist skills, but, I can show people how.
You do a little something. I like what you do.
Yeah. So it's more about, I'm a normal person. I'm not, I have 5 minutes in the morning. I need to get my skin and makeup. So let's just share that with anyone who wants to listen to me, really. And I started doing it and talking to stories and doing a bit of skin, doing a bit of makeup, talking on camera. And at the beginning, I said, you know what, it's 24 hours. It will disappear. Even if I never rewatch my stories. If it's the worst thing ever, it's going to disappear. But interestingly, this is what it really helped me over the past year to really understand our customer, to really connect with them, answering the DMs, what's good for my skin. These are my concerns. And actually, over the last year, I've come up with product ideas, which is exactly what our customers want. In the past, it may have been, let's just launch another face cream without really thinking about the concerns and going more with the trends or what ingredient we want to emphasize. And I feel this has been the most successful year when it comes to launching products, from the lowlighters that are great for Zoom to the VC pads that are great for breakouts when you don't have access to facials and salons, or you don't even want to spend the money. And recently we launched the SPF 50 drops with blue filter technology, just because a lot of people are in front of their computers and anti-aging is everywhere. So I feel that we've had a very successful year with products that our customer really wants. And hopefully that connection that I have with our community, I will be able to continue even post-lockdown. I hope people still continue to be on social media and watch their stories, so we can keep that connection going, whether that customer lives around the corner in London or if they are in Scotland or New York or LA or Asia. We can all be one community, and social media can bring us together. So yeah, I definitely learned my lessons to get out of my comfort zone and just communicate in a more natural way. I mean, before the pandemic, I would have to have professional hair, makeup, lights, photographers, filming. It was even filming a 5-minute clip. It was a whole production.
Right.
And then all of that disappeared, and I just had to do it myself, which is actually very liberating. So yeah, that's what I learned over the pandemic.
I love that. And you have quite an interesting story. And it's a true testament on why you wrote your book, Overnight Success. I would love to, touch on some of your beginnings in beauty, because I know it wasn't easy. I know funding didn't come easy to you, especially, for most women. So can you touch on that a little bit more? Because I really want people to understand like why, everyone loves you so much, because your story is so inspiring.
So I was always passionate about fashion and beauty. My first job was at 17 magazine back in Greece, where I'm originally from. And I did a part-time job as a beauty writer. Mm-hmm. I did that for a little bit, but I was very passionate and intrigued by business. I didn't know in what capacity, and I certainly didn't plan to be an entrepreneur. So I did a little bit of beauty, then I studied business, and I ended up getting a job in banking, of all places. I don't know, one thing led to another. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Mm-hmm. So here I am banking in London. At the beginning, it was exciting, being surrounded by powerful people, doing exciting presentations. I started traveling a lot for work, first class. I mean, this was all exhilarating, in your early 20s. But after a point, all those Prada suits and flying first class really didn't cut it, because I wasn't really interested in my job anymore. Right. So one day I got called in the boardroom and I got fired from my job in banking. And it was shocking, because that was my first real job. But then equally, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Right. It made me realize that I didn't want to be in banking. I didn't want to be in the corporate world. And I wanted to be somewhat more creative. So that was the point that I was actually looking at a lot of beauty startups at the point, and Janine Lobel just started Stila. We were at the same time. Janine, she's also on Clubhouse. Yeah. And Marcia Kilgore was starting Bliss. They've already started a few years before, and I was reading about them, and I was so inspired by those amazing women who started beauty brands. And I said, you know what, I can see myself do that, because I love business in some capacity, and I'm also very into beauty. So let's see if I can put this together. So I saw a gap in the market for a skincare range that would offer targeted treatments to specific skin concerns. Up to that point, everything was very boring. It was just your basic moisturizer, your toner. So I saw a gap, and that is the point that I decided, you know what, I'm just going to start a beauty brand and see what happens.
I love that. I think that the fact that you took something that was seemingly horrible and turned it into a success story is what I love, because most times, I feel like all of us have been fired or let go, or something that we wanted to work out didn't work out as we thought it should, but it ended up being the best thing that happened in our lives. Like me going back to Trinidad, when I was a teenager, I was about to start high school. I would have never discovered makeup if I didn't move back to Trinidad. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. So now that Rodial is, what's so funny? I think my accent, I say Rodial and you say Rodial. Am I supposed to say
Rodial?
It's Rodial, right?
It's Rodial. I know a lot of people, especially in the US, call it Rodial, like dial a number. It's Rodial. It's Rodial. It's like if you think like L'Oreal.
Right,
L'Oreal, Rodial. So yeah. Rodial. But so, yeah, you're not the only one. Yeah.
Okay, so we're setting it straight from this episode on. It's Rodial.
Yes.
Rodial. So it's become now a cult favorite by many celebrities. And I'd love to know where that transition happened. Like, when did it become such a must-have? Because you started this brand, small beginnings, and then you started to grow. What was that like pivotal moment that changed the trajectory of the brand?
Yes. So I'll go back a step to your question about funding, because I think this is an interesting message to share with everyone, that everyone thinks that getting funding is the is everything to starting a business. So when I decided to launch Rodial, I put together a business plan. I reached out to 20 investors. I got 12 answers on email. I had 5 meetings and I got 0 investment. So here I am having this amazing idea and coming from the finance world. And you would think coming from the finance world, I would be the first one getting funding for my business, but I didn't. So I was shattered, not just because of the money. The money is great to have and be able to start your business with a little bit more. It's a little bit more relaxed because you have the funds, but then equally for me, getting the funding would be a validation that my idea was worth it, and I didn't get the validation. So I decided to start super small, back room at home. I had a few small savings from my days in banking. And the first days of Rodial were tiny. I was in a tiny office. I had my first production was 500 pieces of each product. I only had 4 products at a time in a cupboard. I was packing everything myself, picking up the call, and I only had an accountant who would come in once every couple of weeks to do my books. So the operation beginning, it's very small. And yeah, that's how I started. But then I'm going to tell you the story of how things turned around, because at the beginning, everything was super small, very, very low key. People were saying, "Oh, are you still doing that business from your kitchen table?" I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yes, mind your business. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's hard at the beginning to convince people that you're actually serious about what you do, especially when you don't have like fancy offices and fancy everything. It's hard. So it was about year 3. I just moved into a tiny office. I had 2 staff, sort of a general assistant and an operations manager. And we sat down. I just received a new serum that we were going to launch. Opened the brown box, beautiful serum. I was trying it on my skin, looking at the designs. We had it named, provisional name, anti-aging serum. And I thought, where are we going with this? You have the Estee Lauders, you have the Lancomes, you have the Chanels with anti-aging serums. We have no leg to stand on. This is so safe. We have to come up with something more exciting to get people talking about us. So going through the ingredients, and one of the ingredients related to viper venom. So I say to my team, why don't we call the product snake serum? And they thought, what are you talking about? You're going to take us out of business. You're crazy. But anyway, we talked about it and we said, listen, we're doing okay. We're not doing great. Let's just take that risk. So we capitalized on the name. We called the product Snake Serum. We created the packaging that reflected the snakes. It was all black. We did a photo shoot with snakes and sent out newsletters, leaflets, all that. And the product went viral. So that's the point that we turned the business around and started getting orders, started getting calls from Australia to Japan to everyone in the world. Everyone was like, what is this crazy product called Snake Serum? So for me, it is taking that one risk on year 3. That is the reason that I'm here today. I feel that if I played it safe and I called the product Snake anti-aging serum, I don't think that we would have been here. And I always say to everyone who starts a business or wants to make a name for themselves, you have to take risks. And did all the risks that I took pay off? No, I would say probably 15% of the risks took off. The rest, I don't want to talk about them. But you only need that one risk to pay off that really elevates you and gets people talking, like the risk that you took with your work at Clubhouse and sort of putting yourself out there, and I'm sure a lot of other risks. So it's just taking that little risk to stand out from the crowd that really pivoted our business.
I am absolutely obsessed. You know what I love about what you said as well? You only started with 4 SKUs. And I think maybe, sometimes people pressure themselves where they have a dream for a big brand and they think they need to start with a million products, but you started with four, and like that, you grow from that. You can start with one or two or three or four, but you don't need to have like this whole thing because it's going to build out over time. So there's something, I don't know if I think I told you this, but I watched your documentary on YouTube. I had my snacks and I was like, oh my God, what is this? I felt like I was watching a Netflix show. How was that experience? And like, why did you decide to do that? I honestly wish it was longer episodes. Like, I wish it was longer. I want more. I feel like you should definitely do a part two, maybe like talking about the pandemic. And like, I just think that it will be so interesting. So can you tell me more about your experience and why you decide to do it?
Yeah, it was an interesting year that year. It was 2015, and we actually started working with Kylie Jenner on our mass brand Nip Fab. Mm-hmm. And so we sort of, she's come to London, and we went to LA, and we started filming a little bit of the work that she did for us. And suddenly I got into this TV world, and I saw how everything was produced and everything was done. And then at the same time, I was also doing this project with Central St. Martin's, it's a school, it's like Parsons in London, where I wanted to work with the students to develop a makeup case for Rodial. So there was quite a lot going on, a lot of glam, a lot of parties, a lot of competitions. It was the golden era, if you want, of us and sort of being out of lockdown and all that. And I thought, you know what, let's just start filming and see if we can make something out of this, because here you have a competition that can be a skeleton for a show, right, and then just bring in some of the other elements so we can showcase Rodial, showcase our offices, also share with people how a new product gets developed. So we had our new product team involved to show how we go through the process. And it ended up being actually a lot of work for 20 minutes. That's the whole series is 20 minutes. It's called the Mrs. Rodial Project. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was a lot of work. I think that now with technology having evolved so much and everyone really being their own producer, we could actually do a series 2 much more efficiently, and there's a lot to talk about. But yeah, it was fun, and everyone should check it out. It's on the Mrs. Rodial YouTube channel. It's called the Mrs. Rodial Project. And yeah, it's kind of the behind the scenes of what goes on in a beauty brand. So thank you for bringing it up.
Of course. And I think what I love most about it is that you listened, you're on the ground, like you're going into the stores, you're talking to the artists, and you're figuring out. And that's how that whole, like, the product was born, because you were communicative with your team and you were open to ideas. And I think that's what a lot of brands lack. They make the decisions on the round table, but they don't actually know what's happening in stores and what consumers want. So I actually really love that. So please do it again. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm like begging you, do it again.
Thank you.
So when we had our conversation on Clubhouse, for those who are maybe not as versed on Clubhouse, Maria and I met on the app, and we had a conversation on there. And we touched on mindset, the mindset behind building a beauty brand, and I would love for you to kind of touch on maybe some of what we spoke on then. What are some of your rules for success in life and in business?
My number one rule for success is follow your own lane. The beauty industry is a very competitive industry, and there's so much information out there on social media and online platforms that if you follow and you observe every single thing that is going on in your industry and your competition, I feel that one, you can go crazy, and two, it will make you feel inadequate every single minute of the day. And I went through that. I was following on social media a lot of my competitors. I was reading all the press about new launches, and you're always thinking, why did I not launch this? Why did I not think of this? Why did I not get that piece of press? Why is my packaging not like that? And it really makes you question everything that you do, because, as everything with social media, you see the best pieces of everyone's success and you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. So there was a point that I decided to unfollow all the beauty brands that I used to follow and anything that made me question myself. And from that point on, I am much happier and I know exactly what I want to deliver for our community, for our customer. And even just to give you a practical example, even there was a point that we were very confused with our image on the Rodial Beauty account on social media. Our packaging is very strong. It's very empowering. We have dragon's blood that's coral and snake that is black and bee that's yellow. So we're very strong with our aesthetic. It's for the strong, powerful woman. And there was a time that a lot of, pastel pinks were coming up, the millennial pink and the nudes, and all of the feeds were all of the feeds were suddenly all nudes and pinks. And we started changing and we started doing shoots that were along those lines, even though this wasn't our branding. And I sit down one day, look at our Rodial Beauty account, and I'm thinking, what is this? This is not us. So we deleted every single image that we've had, apart from a handful. We sat down, we redefined who is the Rodial woman. Let's just go through what she wears, what she likes, and just really define who is our audience. And the Rodial audience, it's not the 18-year-old millennial girl. It's a little bit more sophisticated. So we totally changed our aesthetic. We changed the way that we shoot the products, and everything that we do, we make sure that we stay on our lane and we define and address the Rodial woman. So that was a very long-winded answer on my advice on anyone starting a beauty brand.
No, that was great because I think it's so important. It doesn't even matter what you're doing if you're starting a beauty brand, but staying in your lane and not being swayed by what people are doing on social media. I mean, besides it, being good for your, your brand or whatever you're doing, it's probably better for your mental health because you're going to drive yourself crazy wondering what everybody's doing when you have things to do. So that was what we call a word. So I appreciate that. So you're running several businesses. You're showing up on multiple platforms because we haven't even talked about your TikTok, but I see you. And I want to know, what do you do to relax? I know that, how are you managing filming TikToks? Then are you doing it I'm posting it on Reels or and then when you're done doing all of that, how do you say, you know what, I'm not online, I'm not on Clubhouse, I'm not on Instagram, I'm relaxing?
I wish I could sit down here and say to you, Jalisa, that I have it all figured out. But the reality is I'm still working things out. What I have found out is TikTok is bringing growth. So this is where I get access to a new audience that doesn't know me and the brand. So for me, that is the platform that I spend most of my time creating content right now because the return is worthwhile. then looking at Instagram, I used to spend a lot of time doing photo shoots for my feed, and I'm passionate about fashion in general. I would do fashion shoots, and there was a lot of fashion and travel. But I find that you can spend a lot of time working on your feed, but you have the same number of people watching it. So if you then put the question, what is the return on your investment in terms of exposure to a new audience? It's just the same audience that's watching it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if it takes a lot of time, you have to prioritize the platforms that are giving you that growth. So when it comes to my feed, I don't do as many stills as I used to do. I used to do a lot of fashion stills, or when I traveled, I would do an event. I don't do a lot of that anymore. I repurpose some of the TikToks that are relevant for Instagram, because I also find TikTok is a very unusual platform, and certain jokes and certain ideas are very native to TikTok. And when you put them on Reels, they look a bit weird, and no one knows why. What is going on?
So fast on TikTok too. Trends.
Yes.
And if you're not on TikTok, you're not going to understand the joke.
Exactly, 100%. So I do move some of my motivational content, some of the beauty content that's a little bit more subdued, some of the fashion content that could work. So I'm repurposing my TikToks and I move them over to Reels. That definitely, I found that since I started posting Reels, I'm not sure that I'm getting a lot more exposure, but I'm getting a lot more engagement because people engage more with the moving image, and they have comments, and they see a more real side of you rather than a flat image. So that's what I do. That's my strategy, and I do my daily Instagram stories, and that the stories are for my dedicated community. I know there are people who are checking them every single day. It's a smaller percentage to definitely much smaller than TikTok and smaller than the feed. But I know these are the people that are the hardcore fans. They want to know what's the new product, what is the recommendation, what is my life update. And for me, that's where my loyalty goes to the community that shows up every day and watches my stories. So I put a lot of effort into that. But it's also, it's easy. Like I sit down, I talk with it, and now you have the automatic captions. Thank you for that. Easier. Yeah. And, you put the filter on. So even if I just wake up and I'm not looking my best with the captions and the filter, within 5 minutes, I can quickly communicate and not miss a day. Right. So that's how I've had it. I have it organized so far.
So when you're done doing all of that, how do you disconnect and recharge?
First of all, I have to admit to you that I'm a morning person. And after about 6 p.m., Maria's gone. I am not available. So that's the thing. Like, you can't have all this energy at 5, 6, 7 a.m. and then keep that energy going in the evening. So at around 6 o'clock, that's why, I avoid to do evening rooms on Clubhouse, because the energy is gone. Oh. I kind of like to chill. I mean, when we were open before lockdown, I love going to events. So we'd go have a drink, just socialize, go for a dinner. But now it's mostly Netflix and multiple episodes of, whatever series I'm watching. But, I'm really enjoying that. I have no problem with passive entertainment after 6 p.m.
Right. I love that, because sometimes people, what is it called? Like hustle culture, where it's like, you can't watch Netflix, you can't have a brand if you're watching shows. But are you going to mention the show, or?
Listen, I'll tell you what, I think it's because I haven't been on holiday for a long time, but I am watching Below Deck. I know. I've said that on Clubhouse and you were like, what?
Yeah,
Well,
check it out.
It's beautiful destinations. It's a luxury yacht. It's the drama between the staff. It's very, very interesting characters that go and charter those boats. And it's, I feel like I'm on a constant holiday. So plus, I'll tell you the bonus of that. When I watch for a few hours, I do take a nap in between. So I need to be watching something that if I miss 20 minutes, it's okay. I don't miss the plot.
It's fine.
So that works. Yeah, that works.
Trust me, I have my show that I watch too. But honestly, Maria, thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing. I'm so excited to see what's to come. Are there any other, announcements or anything that you want to share that you have coming up? Maybe the brand. I know you mentioned the Peach Lowlighter, and I know that's been doing really well. But if there's anything else that you want to share before we close off, please do.
I'm excited about this product that we just recently launched a couple of weeks ago. It actually sold out, and we are restocking this week. It's the SPF 50 drops that have the blue filter technology in them, the filter. So, when we spend so much time in front of our screens and phones and iPads and all that the blue light is really breaking down the collagen and it's aging our skin. I don't know that a lot of people know about that. So we have created a product that's super, super refined. It has organic UVA and UVB filters, but also has the blue filter technology. So if you wear it in the morning and you spend your morning in front of your phones, and then you go out for a walk in the sun, and then you're on the phone again, it just gives you full protection throughout the day. It's the SPF 50 drops. They've launched everywhere online in the UK, the US, and I am very excited because it's already a massive seller. So that's a new product from us.
I'm so excited about that. And how can we find you on social platforms? I know you said Miss Rodial on YouTube, but is that all on all your platforms?
Yes. So I am at Mrs. Rodial on all platforms. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Clubhouse, Twitter, I don't check as much, but I do get the odd mention. So that's all. Mrs. Rodial, Maria Hatzistefanis.
I am so grateful that you took time to chat with us today. I am really excited for your drops and everything to come, from just you and all the brands that you're behind. I know that it's going to be amazing. So thank you so much for your time. And I will see you on everything, actually.
We'll see each other on everything.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Elisa. Thank you for having me.
Of course.